Good morning and welcome to Apex Online Racing. We're here today for round number 3 of the AOR Oceania season. We're here in Italy today. That is the third round. We did start the season in Hungary, a little bit of a shorter season than usual. That's just to keep things in line with the normal European leagues. So this will be just a 10-race season. However, that does mean that each and individual race will be ever the more important for the drivers we have on the grid. My name is Alex, although some of you might know me as Curly, and I'll be your commentator this evening. Unfortunately, my co-commentator was unable to attend this race, so I'll be on my own with some solo comms, but don't worry, that will be perfectly okay. Should be a pretty busy race here at Monza, hoping for lots of overtakes and generally some close racing. I'm just going to go through a quick rundown of the drivers, and then we'll let them know that we're ready to get the race underway. Alright, so this is a fairly new grid, and we do have quite a few new names to AOR here tonight. Lots of sign-ups recently, and hopefully we'll have the lobby completely full for future races. But in the Mercedes, lining up in the Silver Arrow, we have MLGH and iContrast. In the Ferrari, we've got Dubsy and Maznat. Those are two drivers that have been looking pretty quick so far this season. In the Red Bull, we've got Infinite March 96. In the Williams, we've got Banana Josh and Nemo. In the Force India, we've got Prying Stingray and Dynamite. We're missing a few guys in the Renault, the Toro Rosso, and the Haas. However, in the McLaren, we've got another pairing of Loaf Meat and VTI Doak. I have raced a couple times the VTI as well, and I do know he's a pretty quick driver. He was very impressive at Belgium, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on here. But I'm just going to go ahead and spectate and let the drivers and the coordinators know that I'm ready to get this underway. So, yeah, 27 laps here in Monza, generally a track with very strong slipstream. It's very difficult for the leading drivers to pull away from the rest of the pack, and we would generally expect to see a close qualifying here as well. In particular, those final runs in the last couple of minutes, ever so crucial, just down to the way that qualifying works in this game with very short sessions, only the 12 minutes, reduced by 6 minutes from F1 2016, and you know, the track evolution on this game is extremely strong. So yeah, it's all about getting those runs in the final minute or so of qualifying. Alright, so it does seem that we are all ready to head over to the track, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of weather situations we have here in Monza. I've seen at least in the races that I've done personally, a fair lack of rain so far in this game, although I do know that other splits, and particularly the F1 split, have been having a lot of wet races. But this is a very difficult track if it does rain, and particularly the braking zones down into turn 1 and turn 4 are very, very treacherous. And for those guys that are running without any kind of assist, without ABS, they'll be having a pretty tough time of it here if it is a wet session, as I'll just skip the F1 intro so that we don't get our video taken down by FOM. Drivers will be looking to go for very low downforce setups here. We might see some guys even go as low as 1-1 wings, or maybe 2-2 or 3-2. I've seen quite a few people on time trial with that kind of setup. It does look like we have ourselves a dry and fairly sunny qualifying session here, which is it's good to see. Give us a pretty even measure of where the drivers are in terms of pace around this track. And I will just go through a couple of the results that we've had recently in this split, just to let you guys know who's been doing well and perhaps who's got some room to improve. Our pole sitter for the past 2 races has been Dubsy. However, I'm not aware if he is actually on the grid tonight. Let's hold on a moment, because we are missing a few people, I think, from the session. I've had a couple people lag out, actually. We had more than 10 beforehand, but we are just down to 10 now. But Dubsy taking both poles so far, and if he's not here for this qualifying session, then that really opens up the opportunities for other drivers to come and claim their first pole position. Other drivers that look pretty quick, well, we've got second in the championship, MLGH. in the Mercedes there. He's currently sitting in second place with 27 points, a fourth and a third place finish in the first 2 rounds. So yeah, he's been looking pretty good. And then the next 2 drivers behind, Maznat and VTI, both on 18 points, both with a single second place finish. They'll be looking for their first win tonight, as we have the first drivers just coming out on track and just heading out on their laps and getting their tires all warmed up. Looks like Dynamite is the leading driver in the Force India. And I'll just take you on a lap around of Monza and just let you know what you want to be doing at this circuit. Dynamite taking a fairly wide line into Parabolica. You really want to get a good run out of here for your qualifying lap. Carry the absolute maximum speed that you possibly can down towards turn 1, and you're looking for about 130 meters here on the left hand side, braking hard into turn 1, and Dynamite's gone extremely deep and he's really bottled that. I'd say at this point it's best to just abandon this lap, which he does. Yeah, he's going to abandon that and hopefully have another shot at it. It's fairly easy to do 2 runs on your set of super soft tires here, and it shouldn't give you too many problems during the race. If you do 2 qualifying laps on that set of tires, you'll still be able to pull off the 1 stop, which is the preferred strategy. We'll see if Love Meat is able to have a better stab at it down into turn 1. See there a little earlier on the brakes, maybe about 135 meters. Keep the car nice and tidy through 2. Maybe just want to take a slightly tighter line through there just to get the best traction you possibly can. Now we're coming through turn 3, which is curve ground, completely flat out in F1 cars. Love Me doing something smart here, just keeping it tight to the inside. You can gain half a tenth just by doing that. Now into turn 4, it's a tricky braking zone. It's very easy to lose the rear of the car through there. Tidy by Love Me. Now into the first Lesmo, you really want to throw the car in, be aggressive, get on the throttle nice and hard. And then into the second Lesmo, it's very easy to put a tire on the grass on the outside there, but he negotiates it well. He's quite cautious through there, but it is his first lap, and banker lap, you just want to get a time on the board. Now down towards Ascari, careful that you don't cut the inside of it. No, Love Meat has backed out of this lap, and we have a lot of drivers leaving the session, so I'm assuming what's happened here is that we've lost a few drivers before this qualifying session, and I think we'll be having a restart here on the grid. So I think we'll come back into another qualifying session. We did have I think 3 or 4 drivers lag out, so yeah, we'll go to a quick restart here. It's perfectly okay. Nobody has actually set a time yet, so that's well within the rules of AOR to call for a restart at this point. Yeah, so just confirmation from one of the coordinators there that we will be restarting the session, just because of those drivers who were unable to get into the lobby. So we'll give them an opportunity to get back in, and nobody's setting a time here, and that's perfectly fine. Just Esteban Ocon apparently finishing a lap. Good for him. So yeah, I was also informed on the YouTube chat that it was going to be a dry race. So hopefully we can emulate that for the actual race once we've got the restart done. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to go blue screen so that we could get ourselves back into this new lobby. Did have some connection issues there. Hopefully we can get everybody all into the actual session itself and get ourselves back underway fairly soon. So yeah, I'll just press spectate here and let them know that I'm ready, and there's no issues on my end here, but we'll just wait for the drivers and coordinators to get themselves all sorted before we go again, and get those guys back into the session. Not something that normally happens here in AOR. We haven't had too many issues in terms of disconnections, at least from what I've seen this season. Just, you know, occasionally the odd driver disconnecting during a race, but that's typically more down to personal connection problems rather than anything to do with the servers, although we have had some lag issues in terms of that. But yeah, all the drivers readying up now, so we will head back over to the circuit for a second attempt here in Monza. So I suppose the real question here is, are we going to get the same weather conditions as we did the first time? We did have a dry qualifying and a dry race there, so hopefully we get similar conditions. But you know, some rain wouldn't be completely unwarranted. I mean, it is a very tricky circuit, I've always found, in the rain. Just those braking zones are extremely difficult, so yeah, it offers a different challenge from some other circuits where, you know, at other tracks, if you're, say, in the rain at Silverstone or Hungary, it's all about the cornering and trying to carry as much speed as you can within those very slippery conditions. Where this circuit, it's much more about making up time in the braking zones and trying not to go straight on at turn one, which is incredibly easy to do in the wet. I've definitely been guilty of that myself a few times. So yeah, we are back into the session, and it looks like similar weather conditions. May well be the exact same, which would be good for the drivers to have the same conditions again. So yeah, just confirmation there that it is dry qualifying and a dry race. I'm just going to unplug my controller so it stops doing that, because this has been a problem I've had for a little while now, where every time my controller is plugged in, so occasionally it just randomly starts to disconnect itself. Not exactly ideal. As we have the drivers heading back out for the second attempt here, and we do have the 11 drivers in the lobby, so yeah, nice of the coordinators to restart here and just make sure that we got every single person possible, and just let anybody that's watching this know. We've already had one person ask, but we do have some spaces still available in this league. Just head over to the Apex Online Racing forums and go down to the AOR F1 leagues, and then you'll see the another set of sub-forums, and there will be an AOR Oceania there, and then go to the PS4 section and you'll find a sign-up thread. In that you can let us know a little bit about you, and you know, you'll do some time trial laps and post a speed test, and the speed tests are done to Melbourne and Sydney, which are where our hosts are based. And yeah, you can get yourself signed up and come and join the grid. It's the first season of running a Oceania league, mostly with Australian drivers, but we do have well, across here in Xbox we've got a couple guys from New Zealand, I believe some drivers from I think Singapore as well, and other surrounding countries. So yeah, if you're in that general region of the world, then give it a look out. Get some good racing over here, and you know, the main leagues, the European leagues, AOR, we're now into our 14th season. It's been a long time, so yeah, we'll hop on board. Who should we go with? Let's see if Dynamite can redeem himself. He is the first driver out here on a lap, and we'll go back on board. It's going to be a second go at turn one. Let's see if he'll lock up again and go deep. Definitely more cautious on the brakes this time, and keeps it nice and tidy through one. Maybe a little bit deep in two. You want to be just slightly tighter there and get on the throttle hard early. But we do see Dynamite. He's not quite as tight to the inside as Loaf Meat was, and that will cost him a couple hundreds. It's just see Mazda moving out of the way. That's good to see on the qualifying lap. Very aggressive over the curbs from Dynamite. He's unstable the car a little bit, but he hasn't lost control. He does a good job to maintain control of the car. Very wide through the first Lesmo, and he is continuing on with his lap aggressively through the second Lesmo. You can really hear the car revving out there, but he's done pretty well through there. A little bit untidy, but he looks to carry good pace through those corners. Now down towards Ascari, braking just before 100 meters. really throw it into that first apex. Keep it nice and tight. You don't get too caught up on the curves. Car just twitching a little bit there on the third apex. You hit that curve pretty hard. You want to try and avoid that. And he's done a good job though. It's pretty quick first lap, I've got to say. It's not been entirely smooth, but he's carried good pace through the corners, and we'll see what Dynamite can put on the board as the first time, and it is a 21.9. We'll hop on board with Loafmeat, who's coming through Parabolica in the McLaren, and what's he able to do? Coming up to the line, and he does go provisional pole. It is a 21.2. Who else have we got on the lap? Let's hop on with Infinite March in the Red Bull. Really beautiful car, I'd say, in this game. I love the sort of matte paint job that they've had the last couple of years. He's gone deep into Ascari, just missed his braking point a little bit and missed that first apex. So you both lost a bit of time there. Who else? We got Dubsy. He's gone to pole position, 21.0. That's a really good banker time from him, the pole sitter from the first two races. As Infinite March coming around Parabolica now. Where will he put himself on the grid? It's going to be P6. He slots in there between Dynamite and Banana. Josh, who we got on board, Maznat in the Ferrari, and yeah, he had a good race in Hungary, finished second place, but unfortunately disconnected from Belgium, so he'll be looking for some redemption here. Very late on the brakes, but he does get the car turned in on time. He was right at that sort of 100-meter board on the brakes, very hard over that third apex there. You can see the car just, the rear of the car stepping out. A bit of correction from Maznat as he comes down towards Parabolica. Late on the brakes again, but does get to the apex nicely. That's how you want to take it. Don't run out too wide if you don't have to, and he does use a little bit extra track. You probably want to keep it slightly tighter if you're able to go flat out. Maznat goes third. He's just half a tenth behind Dubsy, but in the meantime, VTI takes provisional pole with a 20.8 banker time. That's a really solid lap, and that'll give him the confidence to push on his second lap here. What do we think the pole is going to be? Maybe a sort of mid-low 20. Looking at the times that have done so far, with maybe a little bit of more confidence going into their second laps, plus a few tenths of track evolution. Can't ever count that out. The track evolution here is pretty high, and yeah, I think we'll get down into the sort of mid-low 20s, maybe 20.3, 20.4, so somewhere around there for pole. But yeah, VTI looking very good. Just 1.5 tenths ahead of Dubsy, who he's showing he can take pole already this season, twice. I will just be taking some very short breaks during the commentary, just so I can have a drink of water, because doing this by myself, I don't want to completely wear my voice out 5 laps into the race. Hopefully I'll be able to keep it for the full 27. We'll just pop on some telemetry there as well, show you the tires that the drivers are using. Everybody that has set a lap so far has done it on the super soft tires. The only person that looks remotely interested in the softs at the moment is Prying Stingray. Personally, if I were one of the drivers out there, I'd definitely be looking to qualify on the super softs. It's a pretty easy one stop at this circuit. You can do super soft to soft, pitting around about lap 9, 10, 11, somewhere in that ballpark. Or you can go, maybe if you're a little bit harder on your tires, or if you're looking for a very aggressive undercut, you could go for a super soft medium, and perhaps pit a little earlier, maybe even pit early as lap sort of 6, 7, and take those tires to the end. Prying Stingray has set a lap time on these soft tires, but he is in P10 at the moment. Just over a tenth behind Banana Josh, and we'll watch him around on this lap here on board of this Force India. A really beautiful car this year. Love what they did with the pink livery with the BWT sponsorship here. It's a very good looking car. Great line through that second chicane. He nailed just putting the middle of his car over that sausage curve. It's a risky move. You are definitely in danger of hitting that curve with one of your tires and unsettling the car, but he's gotten the line absolutely right, and this looks like a much more confident second lap from Prying Stingray. Perhaps that 21.4 is not representative of his times, and getting right up to the edge of the track, but he's taken a lot of curb at Ascari. He's lost the rear of the car through there, just pushing a bit too hard. I'm not sure if this has invalidated his lap, but he was very, very out of shape there. I think just pushing a little bit too much. And we'll see if he does complete the lap. I'd be surprised if this wasn't invalidated, but track limits at Monza here are perhaps a little questionable, but no, he has invalidated that, I would assume. He's into the pits, and I think he'll come back out on a set of super softs. I'm not sure that he'll be entirely happy with 10th place there. Dynamite on a lap again, and he's the first out of the first of the second runs to go out here, and we've got quite a few drivers still in the pits waiting for the very end of the session. Dynamite really using every inch of track on the exit of the second Lesmo. Missed the apex a little bit, but still went very, very hard through the corner. That's pretty much perfect through the first apex of Ascari, but he's just a little bit too greedy on the throttle, and he's had a little bit of a moment through there. Again, the rear of the car stepping out, and that's something we'll see, particularly I think in the race. It's an easy car to just lose the rear, the car snaps, and then you're in a wall through there, particularly if you're following another car with the dirty air. But Dynamite is able to improve on his time, and he does. At 21.2, he goes up to P5 on the grid. Who haven't we seen much of yet? Let's go on board with Contrast, who I think, is he starting a lap? Hold on, let me get my lap data up here. Yeah, so we got Contrast starting a lap. I do believe Contrast is one of our absolutely no assist runners here in the Mercedes down to turn 1. Sensible on the brakes. And that's a really, really good line through turn 2. He's very aggressive on the throttle there, but that line just opening up the corner for yourself and getting a straighter run out of it for the traction, because that traction zone is crucial. It carries speed all the way around to here at the braking point of turn 4. Again, you see him using that aggressive line over the sausage curb there, and down into the second Lesmo. Maybe a little late on turn in, but he does make it to the apex now. And sorry, that was the first Lesmo. This is the second one. Great apex through there. That's what you want to be doing. Just that one tire on that inside curb. Really throw it into that corner. It does stick with the cambering there. Now towards Ascari. Takes it in 5th rather than 4th. Going for a little more stability, but he's smooth through there. He's actually going to get a bit of a toe off of Loaf Meat. A little bit unsuspectingly giving him some help. And Contrast now has just got Parabolica to contend with. He really throws it in there, just down to 4th on the apex, just to make sure he gets the nose of the car in at the corner. Where is it going to be on the grid? He's currently sat in P7. He goes to P4. Very, very close here in the sort of upper midfield. As we've had another car, that's Nemo, he's popped himself up into 4th place. Who are we going to get on board with? Dubsy has spun it into the wall, and that will be his qualifying session over. Let's go to VTI. Oh, hold on, we'll hop on with, is this Maznat finishing a lap or starting one? Getting towards the end of the session. Oh, he is starting one, so we'll go on board with VTI. This will probably be the battle for pole between these two. Dubsy will not get a 3rd pole of the season. He had the pole in Hungary and in Belgium, and well, he's pushed a little bit too hard here. He's lost a lot of his wing. He won't be able to go for that. Now VTI down towards the turn 4 sort of chicane. He doesn't take the aggressive line. He's a little bit more cautious. Big moment. He's very aggressive on the throttle there. Car stepping out under him. Now into the first Lesmo. Beautifully taken. Absolutely perfect through there. But he's missed the apex. He's now dropped to 3rd. And VTI, he's backed out of this lap, and he's out of time in the session. So now we'll hop on board with Maznat. Is he going to be able to do it? Anything to take the pole away from VTI? He's the only driver out of the top 3 that's had a clean run so far. And he had a beautiful line through the second Lesmo. Down towards Ascari now, looking for just before that 100-meter board. Really throws into the corner in 4th. Now up to 5th. He's slightly wide through the center of the corner, but he's done well enough. No moment of oversteer there. And we've had a couple drivers improve. Contrast has gone to 3rd. Nemo has improved up to 1st. He sat on the provisional pole just half a tenth ahead of VTI. Maznat front to the very edge of the track through Parabolica, using every inch of road. There's a car stopped there, but Maznat does take the pole, and it is a 20.846. He's only just more than 100, well, yeah, a little less than 200s ahead of Nemo. Incredibly close qualifying session there, and you've really got to wonder if VTI had been able to complete a second lap. I think he may have stormed it, but yeah, incredibly close qualifying. Maznat and Nemo just pipping VTI there at the end of the session. Contrast also going for a second lap on these tires. He's going to have a little bit more wear for the race. And we'll see if that causes him any issues in the sort of end of that first stint, if he's able to keep up with the guys in front of him. But our previous pole sitter, Dubsy, from two-time pole sitter, he's down in 5th. That will not be a satisfying qualifying for him. So I think we're going to need to wait for the session, the timeout. We're just waiting for VTI to retire his car in the pits. So if he's listening, let him know that he's able to do that, because all the other cars on track are finished, although he may just be running it down. You can do something a little bit cheeky here at the end of the session, where if you're sitting in the pits and the session has ended, you can just let the clock run down for the remaining 3 minutes, and then these cars that are trundling around outside on the track will actually be gaining tire wear from this. So I don't know if this is intentional from VTI or not. Maybe he's just trying to get himself that extra little couple of percentage advantage in terms of tire wear. But yeah, all these cars, fortunately for those ones that are out of fuel, they're not doing too much damage. But we'll see if anybody else is still flying around. No, not really. But yeah, the session will count down in the remaining 28 seconds. That was a very, very close qualifying. We can see here it's from 1st to 8th is just 5/10. Look at that. MLGH with a 21.3, which is a very respectable time. He sat there all the way down in 8th, and yeah, it just really goes to show how close these drivers are on pace. It's excellent to see. I do have a comment here from Loaf Meat as well, saying that he got very, very loose in Parabolica and couldn't go for a second lap. So that's why he remained in P6. So yeah, that's interesting. A lot of drivers aiming to do a second lap, but there's the qualifying order for Maznat with pole 20.8. Nemo just 200s behind him in second place, running on the front row. Then we got VTI in 3rd, unable to get a second run in. Then Contrast alongside him, Dubsy in 5th, Loaf Meat in 6th. Behind them we've got Dynamite and MLJH. On the 4th row of the grid. Then we got Banana Josh and Infinite March, and in 11th place Prying Stingray, deciding not to go for a lap on the super soft tires. In fact, he's just sat there in the pits quite happy. He's going to have a free choice of tires for the race, and that may give him a little bit of a strategy advantage. We might see him go for a brand new set of softs and run very, very long in, and then try to make up some ground in the latter half of the race with some fresh tires. As we'll just wait for the drivers to ready their setups. Now we do have Parc Fermé on here in AOR, so the drivers, what are they allowed to change? Well, they can change their front wing, they can change their their on-throttle differential, and they can also have a look at their fuel levels. And definitely around here, you want to be looking to run a lot of fuel, but we're readying ourselves for round 3 of AOR Oceania on PS4. 5 lights, and away we go here in Italy, and it looks like a fantastic start for Maznat. He's away well. We've got a Red Bull, I think, lagging in the background, but now we've got VTI challenging Nemo down into turn 1. He's very, very late on the brakes and does get the move done, and he's now alongside Maznat, but Maznat's going to have the better line of traction. No, he isn't. VTI with phenomenal traction out of turn 2. And he does get the lead away from Maznat. Nemo dropping a couple positions. He's under pressure as well, but we'll stay on board with the leaders as VTI is able to maintain that advantage down into turn number 4. Maznat getting very close, so he locks a brake, but he's not able to get past. We've got Dubsy. He's come from P5 on the grid. He's up to 3rd battling with Nemo, who's just Yeah, he's not able to get past Dubsy going up the... sorry, no, Nemo getting back past him. My apologies there. And Dubsy now is going to have a look down towards Ascari. He's very, very close to the back of this Williams. And he's having a look on the inside. Are they going to go side by side into Ascari on lap number 1? No, he thinks better of it. I think that's a good move. What else have we got? We've got Infinite March. He's had a big incident at the back here, and he's off in the wall. He'll probably have to pit. But now look at this. We've got Dynamite coming up towards the back of his teammate, and we will just get the tires up here. Look what drivers have gone for. Ryan Stingray, he started in 11th place, and he is up to P6 on the super soft tires. Very aggressive strategy from him. But now we've got Dubsy coming onto the back of Nemo down towards turn 1. Nemo looks to have some very, very strong straight line speed. Is Dubsy going to have a look on the brakes? He does, up the inside, and he's held that nicely, getting to the apex very, very well. But there's contact between the two of them. Nemo just running slightly wide on the apex of turn 2, and Dubsy is unable to get past. I'm not sure we'll be too happy about that. He's going to have another look into turn number 4, trying to go around the outside of Curvy Grom. But again, that Williams just looking incredibly quick in a straight line. He parks his car in the middle of the circuit, and there's really nothing that the Ferrari can do there. Strong defending, but it is legal. And we've got a big incident between Prying Stingray and I Contrast, and they've collected each other outside of just on the exit of the turn 4 chicane, the second chicane there. And they're in the wall. We're looking at the front wing here of Contrast. He's got a lot of damage. I believe that Stingray has a significant amount of damage as well. They will both have to pit, and they're probably going to have to make a second pit stop in this race at some point later on as well. Not a good start for them, as we are on board with Dubsy trying to... big moment there, almost loses the car. As I was mentioning earlier on, where you can easily lose the back end of the car going through Ascari in the dirty air of another car. If you're quite close behind, just unsettles everything. And yeah, it's just, the car can snap on you very, very quickly. But Dubsy just 4/10 behind Nemo. He's staying close to him, and he's not really gaining a huge amount. He does not have the DRS open. It will be available on this lap when they go on that run out of the second Lesmo. But this top group is staying pretty close together. We've got Maznap just pressuring VTI as well. He's not quite close enough to make a move, but he's just keeping him honest there. Who else have we got making moves so far off of the start? I believe, yeah, Banana Josh is up 3 places from 9th to 6th, so very strong start for the Williams driver. He's got MLJH right behind him, but MLJH just a little bit too far back. So that's going to be a warning almost for certain. Prying Stingray and Contrast both in the pits after that wing damage out of the second chicane. And Dubsy is now looking very, very close to Nemo. He does have the DRS available, but that Williams is very quick in a straight line. We've seen that already, and Dubsy's getting close, but he's not going to be close enough to have him move down into Ascari. Now, is he going to be able to hold the car well through Ascari in the dirty air? Does an excellent job there. He's very smooth, just not getting too greedy on the throttle, probably holding it about 80-90%. And Dubsy is very, very close to Nemo. He's going to try and set himself up for a move. And he does try to brake a little bit earlier, but there, look, the dirty air through Parabolica costing him some time. He will have the DRS here. He's just 3/10 behind. Surely he'll be close enough to have a look down into turn 1. Nemo with some very, very low wings though, and Dubsy, he's struggling to get anywhere near the Williams. He's not close enough. And now we've got Banana Josh, who I believe has just lost a position to that Mercedes through Parabolica. Sorry that we missed that. He has a little look up the inside. That's not what you want to be doing. A bit too aggressive there, I think, from Banana. He needs to just be a little bit more patient there and wait for the Mercedes to offer a slightly better opportunity. Dubsy getting close again to Nemo. Great line through here. He's going to have a better exit down towards the first Lesmo. He is closing, but he's not going to put it up the inside there. No point throwing it away now. And I think for these drivers, Nemo just starting to lose a little bit of ground to the top 2. Oh, Dubsy almost putting it in the wall. Very, very nearly having a race-ending incident. He was just too greedy on the throttle coming out of the second Lesmo. Oh, that's third gear. You don't want to be touching that. Definitely do not want to be touching that through Ascari. Keep it in 4th at the absolute lowest, probably 5th. And that can happen when you just go down one too many gear and the car snaps on you. Good job from Dubsy to catch it. It was almost the end of his race in, well, 2 consecutive corners. So a bit of a scary lap 4 for Dubsy here. Who else have we got that's fairly close? Banana Josh is losing a little bit of time to MLJH. He needs to try and stay within that DRS zone. I think he should have it on this lap, and he does, and that'll help him maintain that sort of within the 1 second gap to MLJH, who is starting to get away from him a little bit, but not too much. And you can see there he has gained a couple of tenths on that Mercedes. In terms of the gaps here, things are starting to split up a little bit up front. Mazda beginning to lose a bit of ground to our leader here in the McLaren VTI, who's just quite comfortably sitting there out in front. And now we've had an incident where Nemo has lost a huge amount of time to Dubsy. He was over a second ahead and he's just lost his position, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there. I'm assuming he's had a moment out of the chicane, and that's cost him, you know, maybe he ran a little bit deep into the gravel. So apologies for missing that one, but yeah, Dubsy is now through up into third, and he was looking maybe a little bit quicker than Nemo earlier on, but we do know that Nemo's got some very, very low wings. If he's able to stay close to Dubsy, and Dubsy, look at that, he's trying to swerve his way. He just made one move, he's only allowed to make one. That's perfectly fine, but he's trying to get himself out of that toe, so that Nemo's not able to get too close and down to turn one. I think Dubsy realizes now that he's got an opportunity to get after this leading pair. So long as he doesn't lose this position, he might be able to pull away from Nemo. And Nemo is, you know, he's 7.5 tenths back. He's going to be far too far back to get close enough for a move into turn one. So Dubsy now, he's really got to put his foot down and get after this this front two. He's about 3 seconds behind them at the moment, but you know, that's not too big of a gap for lap 6. Okay, we will we'll hop on to the tires as well. So just to go back to our guys that had issues at the start. We had a couple drivers make stops. Infinite March has actually lagged out, so that'll be what it is. Those two guys that have made stops have gone to the medium compound tires. I think they went on lap 1. No, sorry, I think it was lap 2 for those. I don't think that they'll be able to get to the end. 25 laps on a set of mediums is probably a little bit too much to get out of this tire, but they'll be looking to run these fairly long into the race and just try and put in some consistent lap times before going for a softer tire towards the end and then trying to make their moves back up the field. But for them at the moment, I mean, Prying Stingray's got a 30-second gap in front of him. That's a long, long way back. Dynamite, he's catching up to the back of Banana Josh now, and he's just 5 tenths behind on the run into Parabolica. He's getting very, very close to Banana Josh now. Had a considerably better run through Parabolica there, and he is within half a second. He'll close up under this braking zone due to the sort of accordion effect as Banana Josh is maybe just slightly deep. Beautiful line from Dynamite through there, and he does close that gap slightly, but yeah, he's probably not going to be quite close enough for a move down into turn 4. He just needs to concentrate on putting in consistent laps, not making a mistake, and then waiting perhaps for just a little error from the Williams in front of him so that he's able to get past. But yeah, I think Banana Josh will be quite happy with this start, though. I mean, he made up 3 places off of the start from P9 up to P6. He did lose that place to the Mercedes under pressure from this Force India, but you know, even if this Force India does get past and he's down to P8, I don't think he'll be too disappointed with that after the qualifying session. Dynamite getting within 3 tenths. He's getting very, very close here, but not going to be close enough to make a move quite just yet. He's just going to focus on getting a really good exit. He's gone all over the curbs as Prying Stingray picks up a 3-second time penalty. Very easy to pick up time penalties here in Italy. It's just easy to run a little bit too well, either aggressively into Ascari or maybe into the second chicane. Mostly it's Ascari that people pick up penalties, but we are going to hop on board with Dynamite because he is getting very, very close to the back of this Williams. He's going to have a look for a move down into turn 1. Banana Josh with extremely low wings, the Force India, even with DRS, is not able to close up too much on the straight, but he does go late on the brakes, and Banana Josh just really squeezing him on the outside. I'm not sure if that was intentional or just him running a bit deep, but the Force India unable to get the move done, being pushed onto that curb and then really struggling for traction off of it. So he's going to have another attempt here. later on in this lap. Getting a good run through the second chicane, but he isn't quite close enough. And at first, Lesmo's not really too much of an overtaking opportunity, but Banana Josh has run wide, and they're now going to be side by side down towards the second Lesmo, and that is Dynamite going through. But Banana Josh, he's not done yet. He's fighting it back. He's going to try and come back at him. Does he have the DRS here? No, he does not. I believe Dynamite was behind going into the braking zone. They're side by side through Ascari. What a phenomenal move from Banana Josh. He's gone all the way around the outside. Okay, ran a little bit deep, but if you're going side by side through there, I think that's perfectly acceptable. It's a difficult corner to be anywhere near another car, never mind right next to one another. And no, it's a very, very aggressive move from the Force India. Throws it up the inside, almost sort of flying fin style at Bahrain, and now he has the high ground going onto the straight. But Banana Josh, oh, he does not have the DRS. Dynamite was actually behind at the detection point, and he does have it. They're side by side going down towards turn 1. Banana Josh with the inside line, and you would think that might give him the advantage going to the apex here. They're very, very close, but Banana Josh just ran a little bit deep through turn 2. He wasn't able to get the car turned around, and Dynamite gets that position. Very hard fought between these two, but yeah, tough racing, but I think it was fair enough. Some great moves there all round. Dynamite moves himself up into P7. We'll head sort of back up the field now. Things are fairly quiet up here. The drivers just settling into their stints. We are at lap 9. This is roughly the start of the pit window if you want to be moving to these to those soft compound tires. But hold on a moment, Dynamite's made a mistake here, and Banana Josh is now 3/10 away from him. I think Dynamite may have made a mistake through that second chicane, but Banana Josh just struggling to get a good exit off of that second Lesmo. I think his run was compromised by the Force India being there as Contrast picks up a penalty. He is quite close, and there we go. Dynamite has run very, very wide. He's completely lost ground in the middle of Ascari, just understeering through there. It's cost him a lot of time in a position. Banana Josh says thank you very much and just takes it. And actually, hold on a moment, Dynamite's got damage. That's what it is. He's got front on the front left of his car on that wing, he's missing a lot of his end plates, and he's going to come into the pits. Now, who else have we got into the pits? Dubsy on a set of the medium compound tires. That's interesting. Nemo's gone soft, and Love Meat has gone soft as well. So Dubsy, he seems to be struggling a little bit on tire wear. He's gone for the mediums, looking for a bit of an undercut on those drivers in front. I think he's just trying to get himself closer to Maznat and VTI because he wasn't making too much ground there. And the undercut can be quite powerful around here, but I mean, if you're going to the soft compound tires, I'd say the undercut is worth about 1.5 seconds a lap, but for the mediums it's going to be less than that, maybe just under a second, and he's really going to have to put in a phenomenal outlap here if he wants to get anywhere near the front two. We will hop on board with those guys now as VTI is coming down towards Parabolica on lap 10. This would be the sort of standard pit lap here if you want to go to those soft compound tires, and I think that is generally the preferred strategy. VTI, he is into the pits. Maznat, will he follow? He does. So both of our leaders come into the pits, and I'm assuming they'll be going for a set of the soft compound tires, MLGH. He's looked almost as if he was power sliding through Parabolica for a moment there. He actually continues on. He's going to run longer, looking for better tires at the end as we see these guys in the pit lane, and they're both going to come out in the same order, roughly the same difference apart from what they were. Now let's look for Dubsy. Whereabouts is he on track? He's coming down the main straight, and in fact Maznat might have some trouble here. Dubsy, no, he's not quite close enough to make a move into turn 1, but he has closed that gap significantly. That was a much bigger difference than I thought it was going to be. Dubsy with a phenomenal outlap there, and he's gotten that gap to within 1 second of his teammate Maznat. Dubsy is our championship leader at the moment with 37 points after 2 rounds. He had a tough qualifying session, was in 5th place, but he's coming back at him during the race, and look at this, he's really closed up to Maznat through that second chicane, driving with so much confidence here. He's had a lap to get up to speed and then warm his tires up. He's all over the back of Maznat now. He's losing time considerably to VTI, and now we'll see, are there going to be is there any sort of, you know, communication between the two Ferrari drivers? Are they going to try and perhaps employ some team orders or work together? We will see if that happens. Dubsy, yeah, he's looking very, very quick on these medium tires. So much confidence through Ascari. Maznat struggling a little bit. Change of a setting there on the wheel. I'm assuming that's the fuel mixture. That'll be probably up into rich as they come towards Parabolica now. Maznat running slightly wide. Dubsy getting a better run through the corner. He almost goes onto that green concrete. You certainly want to avoid that. He's quite close to Maznat, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move towards turn one. Again, we're seeing this, that the toe is maybe not quite as strong as I thought it was going to be at this circuit, and drivers are kind of struggling to close up on one another. But yeah, I think for Dubsy now, he's on the medium compound tires. Maznat is on the softs. You would expect Maznat to be a little bit quicker on those soft compound tires, and for Dubsy, I think what I'd be looking to do right here is just try and sit behind, maybe save a little bit of fuel, and then in the second half of this stint, when the softs start to wear more and the mediums become quicker, that would be when I'd be looking to push and make moves. But I think for right now, he's just got to try and hold on to the back of his teammate, and hopefully they can drag each other up towards VTI, who is currently, I guess, retaking the lead after the pit stops are done. Everybody does start on the super softs, so there's nobody going for that long strategy. And yeah, he's sitting 2.2 seconds out in front. It's not a big gap, but it does give him a little bit of a buffer to the cars behind. But once again, Dubsy just getting very, very close to Maznat. He's just 0.3 behind, and if he can get a good exit out of Parabolica, and you see he's just struggling in the dirty air there. Maznat pulling a significant amount of time through that corner, as Dubsy and Maznat trading fastest laps. I believe that was just 0.003 between them. 23.6 solid lap times from these two. Sorry, not Dubsy and Maznat, that was VTI and Maznat, both on the soft compound tires, and yeah, just 0.003 apart for our two leaders here. So this is going to be a battle to the end, I think. The only other battle we've really got on track at the moment, apart from the two Ferraris, is Contrast is starting to catch Prying Stingray. Now this was the pair that had to pit early. They came together at the second chicane, so I think they'll be feeling maybe a little nervous about going wheel to wheel with each other. But these guys, they're on the medium compound tires, and they're going to have to decide when they're going to pit for the second time, because I don't think those tires will do 25 laps, as Prying Stingray looks to have just cut that second apex of the chicane a little bit. That'll likely be a warning for him. I do believe that both of these drivers have a 3-second penalty at this point. But hold on, we got Dubsy again. He's within 0.3 coming down. He seems to be getting a much better run through Parabolica than Maznat, and that's really helping him get close. Again, he's got a tighter line, but he's just struggling in this dirty air to really get the throttle down and get a good exit, as VTI does a 23.5, Maznat with a 23.5, Dubsy goes one better with a 23.4 on the medium tires. That's very, very impressive from him, as Contrast now is going to have a look at Prying Stingray down towards Parabolica. He's not quite close enough. He doesn't really fully go for the move there, as Prying Stingray running onto that concrete. It almost puts him in the wall. He does catch the car. He has to lift off a little bit there. That's going to give Contrast a better run down towards turn one. And that Mercedes is looking extremely quick in a straight line. He does go towards the inside, and now on the brakes. Double lock up there on my screen from Contrast, and Prying Stingray is fighting it very hard, but Contrast has got the better exit coming around the outside. He'll have a superior traction on that wider line, and he does get up past Prying Stingray. Is Stingray going to be able to come back at him down towards turn 4? No, he isn't. He's just a little bit too far back, and Contrast gets the move done. He's up into 7th. Both of these guys trying to recover. Oh, that is big news. VTI with a time penalty, a 3-second time penalty, and Maznat and Dubsy are both within the window to pass him there. So these two have now got to be very careful that they do not pick up another time penalty. Well, I don't think they have one, but they don't pick up a first one, because VTI does have the time penalty. He's got to pull out a 3-second gap now. as these guys are just trading lap times. I mean, Maznat and VTI were 2.2, 2.3 seconds behind each other. Well, Maznat was 2.3 seconds behind coming out of the pits, and the gap is the exact same 5 laps later, so they are absolutely matched for pace. And Dubsy, he's sitting in a really good spot here. He's on these medium compound tires. He's able to hold on to the back of his teammate, who is running on the faster compound, and towards the end of this race, that advantage will start to swing towards Dubsy's favour. Prying Stingray also getting quite close to Contrast here, down towards turn 1. He's managed to hold on to the back of him, and now is he going to have a look? No, he's just a little bit too far back. He's not going to go for a big lunge on the brakes, but in fact, Contrast has made a little bit of a mistake through the braking zone. He's run deep through turn 1, and that's given an opportunity for Prying Stingray to come up the inside of Curve Grand, and he is going to try and hold it all the way around. Contrast trying to fight this back. He's got the inside line for turn 4, but Stingray gets the move done. Contrast just with a mistake in the first chicane there. It really cost him on that run for the traction out of turn 2, and the Force India gets the place back. Got Dubsy just 5/10ths behind his teammate here again, and he's still not quite close enough to make a move. That seems to be fairly even at the moment. And Contrast there again, just running over that curb at the exit of Ascari, that third apex, and you really want to try and avoid doing that, because it's, you know, one, you'll pick up warnings from it, but also it'll unsettle the car and make it very likely that you can lose the back end and put it on the outside wall there. Lofme picking up a 5-second stop go for corner cutting. That's a bizarre one. I think he must have gone straight on at turn 1. It's the only thing I can think of for that. Normally it's just the warnings and then the 3-second penalties for corner cutting, but we are seeing quite a lot of that here this morning, where drivers are struggling with the track limits at this circuit, and yeah, it is easy to pick up a couple of penalties here. It's one of those tracks where for certain corners you want to be, you know, the fastest line really is from white line to white line, and it's easy just to go over that a little bit. Prying Stingray hammering the curbs through that second chicane, contrast with a little bit more of a conservative line. So yeah, in terms of other drivers, not too much other battling going on, just settling into this stint, and for now, for these guys that are kind of sitting in the midfield, you got Nemo, Loafmeat, MLJH, with a little bit of gap in front and behind them. They've just got to focus on putting in consistent times and basically making sure that they don't make a mistake, because that's really what will cost these guys at the moment, is if they make an error and either pick up penalties, or if they they make an error on track and end up in a wall and having to pit again. And that's the main thing you've really got to avoid when you're in this situation of just being a couple seconds in front and a couple seconds behind. However, that's not the case for Contrast, as he's just 4/10ths behind Prying Stingray. He'll close up in this braking zone, but that would be an extremely audacious move to try it from that far back into turn 1. And oh dear, that's a huge lag moment. Prying Stingray's car just warping back into Contrast. And hold on a moment, we've had a mistake up the front. VTI has lost a significant amount of time, and now we've got Maznat on the back of him. But yeah, Contrast, does he have any wing damage from this? No, I don't think he does. He's very, very lucky. Very lucky to not get wing damage there. But Maznat is coming up on the back of VTI now, and he's within that DRS zone, just 6/10ths behind. And this battle up front is starting to heat up. I believe that VTI must have made a mistake somewhere during that middle sector, and that gap was 2.2 seconds before. It's now 4/10ths. And yeah, these guys were absolutely even on pace for, well, really most of the first stint, and for especially the first half of this second stint on the soft compound tires. And now Maznat is very, very close to the back of that McLaren, just 3/10ths behind. He seemed to be closing quite a lot along that straight. He does look like he's got some good straight line speed on this car, but he isn't going to be close enough to have a look into turn 4. But he's now just got to be just piling on the pressure of this McLaren. You know, his McLaren's in the lead of the race. It can be a difficult position to be out there leading when you've got another car right behind you. It's all on your shoulders, and yeah, not the easiest position for a driver to be in. I do believe this is just VTI's second race in this league as well. He did miss the first round. I don't know if he'd signed up by that point or not, but yeah, he's got Maznat all over the back of him now, and Maznat getting very, very close here through Ascari. He's just got to make sure that that's the line through there. That's what you want to be doing. Beautiful from Maznat there. He's now just 3/10 behind, very, very close. He's just got to be, just got to focus on getting a good exit out of Parabolica. VTI getting very aggressive on the throttle, but he has actually run a little bit wide onto that concrete. That'll compromise his traction out of the turn, and now Maznat is looking to get close to him down towards turn 1. He does have the DRS open. VTI is very quick in a straight line. Is Maznat going to go for a lunge into turn 1? No, he doesn't. That McLaren incredibly quick in a straight line. Maybe running slightly lower wings than Maznat. I thought Maznat was gaining on him more beforehand, but it actually looks now as if VTI has got some phenomenal straight line speed. As we have had Prying Stingray in the pits, he's made his second pit stop onto a set of super soft tires. He's back down in 10th. He'll be getting after Banana Josh for that P9. As we do just have 10 drivers left, so as long as these guys finish the race, they will be getting some points here today. So that is something to think about if you are a little bit further down the field. Just make sure you get to the finish line. But Maznat is just 2/10 behind, and here's Dubsy. He's looking very, very close to them. He's just waiting for this to play out and waiting for his tires to coming back to him. This tire advantage that he'll have towards the end of the race on the mediums compared to the soft tires. Maznat just maybe struggling a little bit through Ascari, but yeah, this is our leading trio just within a second now, all three of them. Maznat's even closer on this lap than he was the previous lap, now down to Parabolica. He's incredibly close to the rear wing of that McLaren. It's all about this exit, and we will hop on board with Maznat. Is he able to make a move for the lead? He's just 2/10 away now from the McLaren. The DRS will open, and surely he's got to be looking for a move here down to turn 1. But again, the McLaren is so close, so fast in a straight line. He does go defensive. Maznat trying to go around the outside. He's put a wheel on the grass, and that's compromised his braking. He's almost run to the back of the McLaren, but he's done a very, very good job to avoid it. Maznat trying to make sure he doesn't get a penalty. He does get a penalty, although I think that can definitely be appealed in the stewards, but he's lost a huge amount of time. He just put that front left wheel on the grass. VTI kind of squeezing him over there, and yeah, that move has not gone well for Maznat. He had a good stab at it, but it's not quite enough, and now this has put Dubsy in a position where he's got a clean shot at the lead. 7 laps remaining here in Monza of this third round of the AOR Oceania League, but he's now 7/10 behind, and it's hard to say whose position you'd rather be in, because these medium tires are only going to get faster and faster, whereas those softs will start to fall off a little in the final laps, depending on how tough VTI has been on his tires. He did box in lap 10, so he may have a little bit of room to play with, but yeah, I mean, this Ferrari's in an excellent position, and now Maznat, he's sitting 3 seconds behind after that failed move. Lofme pits up another penalty. He's had a lot of time penalties. He'll be dropping at least a position to MLGH at the end of this race. He's got to be careful that he doesn't end up dropping even more than that. But yeah, Dubsy now, he's 5/10 behind VTI, and he's looking in a really solid position. He might have some lower wings on his Ferrari compared to Maznat, so perhaps they went for slightly different setups. We'll see that VTI is very quick in a straight line, but yeah, I mean, Dubsy, he'll have a tire advantage in that final few laps, and that can make a huge difference on the brakes. So he's within sort of 3/10 now. He's able to follow very closely through the Lesmos. In fact, he's got a phenomenal run out of the second Lesmo, and Dubsy here, he's right behind VTI, but once again we're seeing this incredibly low aero setup from the McLaren. He must be running maybe, I don't know, 1-1, 1-2, 2-1, something like that. Incredibly low wings, as, oh dear, Dubsy almost bins it, gets that those right tires on the curb, and that'll kind of drag you around and just unsettle the car. But VTI holds on for now. He's managing this pressure very, very well. It's been an excellent defensive drive so far. He's got to keep it up though. Dubsy's struggling a little bit for traction there, and for Maznat behind, he's just got to hope that these two start battling hard so he can get back involved in this battle for the lead. But yeah, Dubsy, just with that momentary Ascari, has cost him probably an opportunity on this lap, but he's got a few more chances added, and for every lap we go through, his advantage will grow on these medium compound tires. Okay, they put them on one lap earlier than the softs, but we're getting to the point now where they'll be significantly less worn and probably slightly quicker. Looking a little bit further back, we do have Loaf Meat just slowly closing in on Nemo. That gap was about 2 seconds a few laps ago. It's now 1.5, and he does have a lot of penalties, but hold on, Prying Stingray, look at that, he's practically bump drafting on Banana Josh. In fact, there's quite a lot of lag there. Looks as if Prying Stingray has just driven right underneath Banana Josh's car, so I'm not really sure what that's about. A truly bizarre thing to see there. But yeah, Prying Stingray has pulled off an utterly bizarre move, and he's up into P9 on the super soft tires. He's very, very quick on them as well. It's a 22.6, great lap time from him, and he'll try to haul in Dynamite. It's an 11-second gap, but maybe that's possible. It's a lot to do. 2 seconds a lap is what he needs on Dynamite there. But now we've got Dubsy. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong button. Dubsy's incredibly close. VTI's run wide. VTI's gone completely on the concrete, and this is the best opportunity that Dubsy's going to get all race. I'm sure of it, and he is going to go side by side with VTI down towards turn 1. He does have the DRS, and he should have a little bit of an advantage in terms of his position on the track. They're side by side, and the McLaren has locked up, and that's caused the Ferrari to go wide. And he does pick up a 3-second time penalty there, and now VTI has got Maznat. He's just mugged him all the way around the outside. What's happening here is Dubsy waiting for VTI to go through. I'm not exactly sure, but Maznat has taken the lead. That's worked out nicely for him. No, it's not. Dubsy has actually decided he's not going to give a position back. He's going to fight it. Maybe he's thinking that with that 3-second time penalty that he's kind of he's already served his dues, and now we've got a very close battle between the trio up front, as it is Dubsy now leading the train on those medium compound tires, and he will have a little bit of a tire wear advantage as well, so he might be able to extend this lead. Maznat coming from 3 seconds back after that contact, and it just looked like VTI locked his tires into turn 1. That caused him to go straight on. It didn't give Dubsy anywhere to go but to take that runoff area, and you've got to be very, very slow through there to avoid getting a penalty. So yeah, VTI is incredibly close to Maznat, and we know he's running some low wings. And Maznat's gone deep through Parabolica as well, so is VTI going to have an opportunity to get past? However, Maznat will have DRS and the toe off of his teammate. We'll see if that's enough to defend him. Down towards turn 1, Dubsy swerving across the track to try and break the toe. Maznat is just too far ahead for VTI to really have an opportunity there. VTI quite cautious on the brakes as well, looking to get a good exit. Maznat has put his wheels on the curb, but he's not going to be quite close enough. But yeah, a very interesting moment there just on the last lap. Bit controversial, I think. We might be hearing a little bit about that later on, perhaps in the stewards. But yeah, VTI just locking his brakes, going straight on at turn 1, struggling to make the apex there, and that caused Dubsy to have to take the runoff, and that's cost VTI. Well, it's cost him P2 to Maznat. Dubsy does have a 3-second time penalty. I don't know if Maznat has a time penalty. VTI shifting down to third there. Definitely don't want to be doing that. Will really unsettle the car, and it's a very easy way to send yourself into a wall. But yeah, this top trio is starting to spread out a little bit now. Maznat just trying his best to hold on to the back of his teammate. Those soft tires are going to be up about 50-60% in terms of tire wear at the moment. You know, the super soft to soft one stop, it is you know, definitely what you want to be aiming for, but the tires will be up there at the end around about that 70% mark, which is when they really start to fall off in pace. But yeah, Maznat, he's a little bit too far back, but he's just maintaining the pressure on his teammate here, and yeah, we know that Dubsy's got that penalty, so I don't think Maznat has one. So right now he's just got to sit. He really just got to sit where he is. However, Maznat won't know that Dubsy has a penalty, so I think it's quite likely that we'll see him attempt to move. See if he has more fortune against his teammate than he did against VTI in that moment where he put that wheel on the grass and went straight on at turn 1. Again, he's quite close, but he isn't going to be close enough to make a move. He's just going to be putting pressure onto Dubsy here. But yeah, after that incredibly close qualifying session, it looks like we've had a very close race as well. Just 3 laps remaining here in Monza, and as it stands right now with the current positions on track, I do believe that Dubsy would maintain, well, Dubsy would actually extend his championship lead, and I think that Maznat would go up to second and VTI would probably go up to third. I'll just try and double check that at the moment, but yeah, that would be the standings as we are right now. Loafmeat starting to lose time to Nemo. He was gaining earlier, but perhaps he's overcooked those tires slightly. VTI is quite close again to Maznat, this top trio, all within a second. Just looking a little bit further back down the field, MLJH has actually started closing that gap on Loafmeat as well, so we may have a battle developing there, but VTI is not able to get anywhere near Maznat. Maznat, with the toe and the slipstream off of his teammate, is just storming down that straight, and yeah, this race is very, very different to what we would have seen a year ago on F1 2016. That would have been overtakes galore, but it just looks like, particularly this track, the drivers are struggling through Ascari and through Parabolica with the dirty air to really get close enough and to get in that toe, and the toe's not very powerful in this game, so you've got to be really within about 3/10 of the car in front of you to open up an opportunity to get side by side on the brakes down to turn 1. Either that, or you've just got to be incredibly bold on the brakes, and we haven't seen too much of that in this race. But yeah, it's difficult because the car is so unsettled through Ascari in particular, but also through Parabolica. It's mostly the understeer in Parabolica, but through Ascari it really does get unsettled. This is very much a rear limited sort of corner, and it's easy to lose it there. Loafmeat, in fact, has made a mistake through the middle sector. He's lost a position to the Mercedes of MLJH, and he goes up into 5th place. And we do also know that Loafmeat has quite a lot of penalties. That's not going to help. A lot of understeer through the middle of that corner. He's had to go straight on there, and that will almost certainly be a warning for him. And if he picks up any more penalties, he's going to be in real trouble from... Oh wow, he's got a puncture. He's got a puncture, and Loafmeat has pushed his tires too hard, and he's going to have to dive into the pits and make a last lap pit stop. Oh no, Loafmeat he's just pushed too hard on these tires, and I wasn't expecting to see, in particular, front left puncture at Monza. It's normally the rear tires that are in trouble around the circuit, and now he's got to wait his 5-second stop go that he got earlier. That's just going to add pain to this, and we'll see how far he drops down. He's going to lose a position to Contrast. He's going to lose a position probably to Dynamite as well. We'll see where he comes out in relation to, well, maybe, yeah, he's probably going to lose a position to Dynamite. They're going to be close down in turn 1. No, Dynamite gets through. So yeah, Loafmeat dropping from 6th to 8th, and he might even drop further because of the penalties that he's picked up, but we will hop back up towards the leaders. And yeah, we've got Dubsy leading the way, but I do believe he has another penalty on Maznat, who's just 6/10 behind him, and Maznat's just got to keep it nice and clean through Parabolica as these guys come around to the final corner of the Italian Grand Prix here. And it is Dubsy leading the way for Ferrari 1-2 on track, but we'll see what happens with the penalties as Dubsy crosses the line. And it is going to be Maznat that wins the Italian Grand Prix, and VTI goes to 2nd, so Dubsy drops to 3rd just with that 3-second penalty. But we might see an appeal from that in the stewards about that incident. So yeah, it's not completely over for Dubsy yet, I would assume. But yeah, that is our winners on track, is Maznat, VTI, and Dubsy on the podium. Nemo comes home to take 4th. Then we got MLJH in 5th place in the Mercedes. Contrast is coming around Parabolica now, and he's in 6th. Really good recovery drive from Contrast. He was a pit stop down. Has he only done 1 stop? I think he has. Those tires are going to be absolutely toast at this point, but he has actually gotten himself into P6. And Dynamite and Loafmeat, sorry, they're side by side across the line pretty much, and they make contact. Loafmeat making a late move. Apologies for just getting on board with that very late, but yeah, not quite able to mug Dynamite across the line. Dynamite holds on. Frank Stingray has reversed across the line in style. Good way to do it, and he picks up the place on Loafmeat. He might have cost himself a position there. That was a little bit risky. And then Banana Josh is coming home. Has he made a 2nd pit stop here? Yes, he has. So that's why Banana Josh has dropped off a little bit in terms of his position, but he will come home in P10 and pick up a point. I'm sure that he'll be happy with that, as you see that gap drop by, I think it was about 20 seconds there. So, yeah, love meet with a lot of penalties, and then that, second to last lap puncture costing him a huge amount of time. And it was a great time to get a puncture right by the entry of the pits. Pretty much the best place to get a puncture, but yeah, apparently very hard on that front left tire, which is surprising around here. It's normally rear limited, as we see 2 Ferrari cars on the podium and a McLaren on the podium. Hopefully we see that a couple times in the actual 2018 Formula 1 season, as we will go to the final results. Quite a lot of penalties here. But for this race, Maznat does pick up the win. Overall race time of a 38.26, the fastest lap of a 23.5. VTI coming home in second place after the problems he had in qualifying. He was third on the grid, but I have a feeling he might not be too happy with that. It did seem like he had the most raw pace over one lap, but just wasn't able to put together that second run. Dubsy, he finishes in third, but I'm sure that there will be a steward's inquiry about that 3-second penalty to be decided before the next race. Then we've got Nemo in fourth, MLJH in fifth, Contrast recovering to sixth, Dynamite in seventh, Brian Stinray in eighth, Loaf Meat comes home in ninth after picking up a huge number of penalties, Banana Josh in 10th with no penalties, so good job on that. And then we also did have the one, I believe that was Infinite March, that lagged out of the session. So that was unfortunate for him. I believe he only made it through the qualifying session. Okay, I'm going to... I didn't mention this to the drivers beforehand, but I think I'll invite the podium sitters in and see if we can just ask a couple questions to them about how they thought their race went. So, yeah, the screen will go blue, and I'll just send them some invites, so we'll be back in a minute. Gonna do some podium interviews, buddy, if the other guys join in. Sweet. Alright. Just let you guys know that we are still live. Okay, we do have 2 drivers in the party already. We're just waiting for Dubsy, and then we'll get some questions underway. It was a pretty interesting race, very close race there at the finish, and just between the top 3 drivers. After what was an incredibly close qualifying session. Excellent to see the drivers so close. Okay, so we do have our 3 podium sitters here in the party, so we will do some questions for them. I'd just like to say to the 3 drivers, just to make sure that you've got your microphones and the party settings on allow to be shared, so that whoever is watching this can hear the answers that you have to some questions.
Yep, mindset.
Sweet.
Awesome. All right, so we'll go to our race winner first. Maznat, we do know each other. We've raced in leagues for a long time, so it's nice to see you picking up the win here. But I'll go to qualifying first. Pole position by a very, very small amount, a 20.846. You were just 0.2 ahead of second place. What was going through your mind on that final qualifying lap?
Just to try and do my best lap. I didn't think I'd get pole with these 2 guys, VTI and Dubsy. They're very quick drivers. I wasn't exactly happy with the lap, but I guess VTI and Dubs didn't have a great... I think Dubsy crashed his second flying lap, so I think I was lucky with that one.
Yeah, maybe maybe a little bit of fortune, but that's sometimes what it takes. It definitely seems like you were right there in terms of race pace as well. However, you did lose the lead of the race going through the first couple corners. Tell us about that. I mean, what went wrong there?
Just when I did my race practice, it was a couple of days ago, and then I've been doing mainly quali practice, and then um, when I hit the brakes, it was like I was just too late on the brakes, and overshot turn one, and then it gave me a bad turn into turn two, and then a bad exit out of turn two. So that's where VTI got me. So yeah.
And then we'll go to a little bit later on, and we'll probably ask VTI about this as well. But you did try a move for the lead on VTI at the I can't remember exactly what lap. It was in the mid part of that second stint, but that did cause you to run straight on at turn one and actually lose second place as well. What went wrong there? I mean, what could you have possibly done differently when making that move?
Well, I wasn't going for the overtake into turn one. I was going for a better exit out of turn two. So I came back over onto the racing line, and I think VTI just moved a little bit as well, which caused me to move just a fraction more to the left, which touched the grass, and I was lucky not to bin it, but yeah, locked up the front wheel and made me go straight on. But that gave me a 3-second penalty, so I'll see if the stewards can take that off, because I think Dubsy has a 3-second penalty he wants to take off as well.
Yeah, I do believe that you can appeal any sort of penalties that you feel are unfair in the race, and see what the stewards say. So yeah, Maznad, I just want to say congratulations on the win. Well done. It's your first of the season. And the way you drove today, I'm sure that it won't be the last. We will now head on to the second place sitter, VTI. VTI, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
Excellent stuff. So, yeah, we'll head back to qualifying. You set a phenomenal banker time, a 20.8. You look to be kind of the class of the field over one lap. But then what went wrong on that second one? You weren't able to get a second time in.
Yeah, basically, second chicane went in a little bit too deep and cut the corner slightly, so the lap was invalidated. But yeah, it was like you said, it was a good banker time from the first run, so just threw it all out there and didn't pay off, but still good enough for third.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much racing you did on F1 2016, but with the really short qualifying sessions now, you only get 2 runs. Is that something you think is good, or did you prefer the longer sessions that we had in the past?
I think with the longer sessions, some tracks you could almost get 3 runs in, and sometimes 2 flying laps. But this is pretty tight. You have to, or it's not around or Monza. You can turn around the car pretty quickly around here. If you're really good, you could probably get 3 laps in Monza because it's such a short lap time. So, yeah, that's something I've been trying to get used to at Spa. But yeah, so just try and get one banker in, and then if you get the banker in, the pressure's off again for the last lap. But obviously not good enough for pole.
Yeah, I mean that banker was almost enough. You were just half a tenth behind the front row, but you got a phenomenal launch off of the line. You were up past Nemo, pretty much after about 100 meters, and then got the move done through turn two on Maznat. Any sort of secrets off of the start? How did you get the launch there?
Just the same as you normally do, hold it at an optimal RPM and just let go of the paddle and try and modulate your wheel spin, and it's no different from anyone else. I think Emo got a bit of wheel spin off his launch, so I was able to kind of tuck in towards behind Maznat then, and into breaking into turn one then. Maznat went a little deep, so he had to kind of clobber over the curbs there on the second part, but I think he got a little bit of wheel spin, so I just took a Tyler line and hoped for the best, and it was enough to take the lead.
Yeah, it was a great move, and I will move on to maybe be a little bit more of a controversial thing. Was the battle between you and Dubsy into turn one, where you two made contact and Dubsy went straight on. It looked like you locked the brakes there. Can you just run us through maybe what happened from your point of view?
Yeah, I think to be fair, Dudley was just about ahead. I just went a bit too deep on the brakes. The fronts were wearing a bit higher than before, so locked up, wasn't going to make the corner. So apologies to Dubsy about that. He had the corner, and in any case, I would have waited for him anyway. So he had the position there. To be fair, I should have given that in, but yeah, just a kind of a desperate attempt to hold on. So I'll try and tidy that up for the next couple of races. So hopefully, no other issues there.
All right, excellent stuff. Well, congratulations on the P2.
Thank you.
And yeah, just it could have been a little bit more, but you know, sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. I'm sure that you'll be in there for the win in Singapore. We will head to our third place sitter, Dubsy. You were the pole man from Hungary and Belgium, and I did actually catch you just the end of you coming into the wall there in qualifying. Was that a big moment out of Ascari, I think?
Yeah, just I don't know. I guess I just kind of clicked the little bump like just at the end of Ascari, and it kind of sent me wide on the right hand side, and then the rear gets as soon as you send two wheels on that rear like AstroTurf, it just gets a bit shaky, and obviously you're trying to push and push, and it just rear wheels wasn't having it. It just went around, unfortunately.
Yeah, I want to ask you a little bit about the strategy, because we saw VTI and Maznat, they went to lap 10, they put on the set of softs, but you put on the mediums. Was that because of your tyre wear, or was that more of a sort of strategic decision?
To be honest, I have no clue. I just thought that's what everyone else was doing. Yeah, I guess I just didn't practice and check what, the tyre strategy, the best one was. I thought because it just said on my engineer report that mediums were the way to go, and I didn't think that softs would have actually lasted, 17, 18 laps, so if I could have been on softs in hindsight, I probably would have, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it actually ended up working quite well for you, because you were a few seconds behind Maznat before that pit stop, but you must have had a phenomenal outlap, because when he came out of the pits, you were just a second behind, so you made up a lot of distance in that outlap, and then it seemed towards the end of the race as well, those mediums were maybe a little bit quicker in the sort of final laps than the softs were, and you're able to hold Maznat off in that sort of final few laps. So yeah, maybe it was a good call. I do also have a question here from you from the chat from Nemo, and he's just asking if you two made any contact. So yeah, I mean, was there any contact between the pair of you?
Well, there was several instances where we bumped wheels, but I can't remember anywhere where we were both like in the wrong from my memory. But yeah, it seemed all like it was quite aggressive from both of us, but everything seemed alright.
Yeah, it was some tough but fair battling, is what I would say. So yeah, congratulations on the podium here. I believe that you.
Just quickly.
Oh yeah.
VTI, did you? Is your penalty like from corner cutting?
Yeah, so basically just from clipping the corners a bit too much, which is fair enough.
Okay.
I don't be any charges towards that.
Alright. Okay. Because I just think that there's no point of me sending the stewards thing in if you got like a bullshit penalty or anything.
Oh no, it was no problem. There was no issue there.
We'll just remind the drivers to to mind their French practice and just to keep things a little bit PG on the stream. I know you guys are Australian, but All right. So yeah, congratulations, guys, on the podiums. Very well done. That was an excellent race to watch. I've got to say, you guys really put on a good show here this evening. And we will wrap things up here, because I've been up all night, and quite frankly, I'm going to go to sleep. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in and watching this. Hopefully for the next time round, we will be on the main AOR channel and get you guys some more viewers there. So yeah, that is the plan. If you're watching this and you're interested in getting involved, then head over to Apex Online Racing and you will find all the information that you need there. Look for the PS4 Oceania F1 subforum, and yeah, there's some posts there with all the information that you might want about the league, and also some space to sign up. We do have some spaces left in the league, so get yourself signed up quickly before those spaces run out. All right, thank you for joining us, and if you're wanting to watch more content, we will have the F1 tiers from the European leagues here, on the Apex Online Racing channel at 8 p.m. UK time tonight. That'll be the PC, PS4, and Xbox races. Those have been very good to watch so far this season, so make sure to catch that, and I hope you all have a good day.